This is a recap tutorial for you to go back to and review to enhance your understanding of what's required for the assignment. So, it's 4,000 words, the minimum pass mark is 50%. You are required to critically reflect and evaluate your performance as a mentor in supporting work-based learning and assessing. It requires evidence of deep understanding of theories, principles and concepts, and advanced current and complex issues relating to mentoring. Application of research-based evidence policies and practice to inform judgments. And we're expecting to see some evidence of original thought through synthesis, which I'll explain a little more. The book there at the bottom, Casey and Clark, is a good book to assist you studying at Masters, and we do keep them in our libraries. So, the module learning outcomes that you are to address are to meet the standards for supporting learning, assessment and practice, demonstrate an understanding of conceptual and research-informed concepts and approaches to mentoring, critically assess and synthesise the factors that are likely to affect the provision of mentorship within your clinical environment and organisational level, and then demonstrate the ability to enact with initiative in making decisions with profession or giving guidelines, accepting full accountabilities for outcomes. We would expect you to submit a draft of 500 words, giving us an idea of your chosen topic area, the professional standards that you're going to apply, and some of the literature you've been looking at to support your critical reflection. Some students will send the beginning of their assignment for us to review, or certain sections of the assignment. That's absolutely fine. You can do this up until 1 week before hand-in date. If you send the whole of your work, then I'm afraid we will email you back and say, I'm really sorry, but you're going to have to let us know which section you want reviewed. We cannot read the whole work. We cannot prejudge your final grade. Similarly, a draft a week before, hand in, if it's not up to scratch, then you've all got yourself a tall order. So we do recommend that you consider sending a draft around halfway, around 6 weeks, but you have up to a week for submission. This is only a suggestion for the structure of your assignment. Do look at the assignments that we have, examples that we have on the website, but this is kind of a bit standard. So, overviewing the topic, your chosen standards and what you're going to explore. Then explore and interrogate the relevant literature. Literature that's going to underpin what you are considering, what you want to say. Your critical reflection, your exploration, your analysis and your synthesis. And then the summary, what you've learnt, and recommendations for future practice. So when you're thinking and reviewing your work, consider the following. Is it actually literature? At master's level, we are not expecting spelling mistakes or grammar errors. No sentences without verbs, accurate punctuation, no miswords or malprompting, and above all, clarity. Clear, leading from one topic to the next, following through. So it doesn't have to be directly about module outcomes, but they are to be demonstrated through the way in which you're written and it's completed. It doesn't mean writing a section about a specified outcome, because you will write too little about each section, and it will look disjointed and different and won't read and flow well. So it's about the evidence. You are expected at master's level to read as everything, or as close as everything on the topic area that you've chosen, so that we can find the source and look at the citations, looking at the theory to answer some questions that you want to pose, rather than regurgitating it for its own sake. So what you're using the theory for is to support the exploration and the analysis that you present, and thinking about a appraising the evidence. Just because Joe Blob says doesn't mean it's always correct, or maybe somebody else has actually written something since or has a different perspective, and bringing those perspectives together and analyse them strengthens the work. So don't take things for granted. Critically examine them, interrogate them. Look at the limitations of an idea or perspective pointing and consequence of using it for your investigation. You know, if you're looking at some research, how big was the study? Was it a small study? Was it qualitative, quantitative? Most of the literature about mentoring is qualitative. And therefore, it's people's perceptions of the evidence that they've been exploring. Challenge those perceptions. Look at what others may have written that bring in different perspectives. To think, should, ought or must. Dig behind the tail of the truths and expose the assumptions to entrain the potential alternatives. So yes, everything, why, or so what about everything. So what if that is the case? Why should that be? You may find that things are inconclusive, but you have to explore them to identify that. So know where you're coming from and where your sources are, and don't, again, you can put your own considerations, but you have to justify them. And again, as I said, how good is that source? What backs it up? Who else supports? The question who pays is who paid the research as well. You know, was it done for personal reasons, personal development, somebody's master's degree, or was it commissioned? All those kind of things actually help you kind of think about, you know, what the evidence is, what the results are they're presenting. So I've mentioned the word argument before. So pursuing an argument, an academic argument, drawing on other ideas' work, finalising it with conclusion. So establishing your position, where you sat in relation to the evidence you find. So do think about, you know, have you got those golden threads coming through? Look at the module and relate them to the real world and test them in your own experience. So Joe Blogg says this: what are you actually doing in clinical practice? Are you practicing evidence-based practice? Is your mentoring based on good, sound arguments and evidence? Think about the counter-arguments. I've already identified that. And think about, you know, is it right? Is what's being said right? Could things be better? So, be succinct. Think about the word limit. Going over the word limit incurs a penalty, 5% of marks. So be very careful. It's really important. So try not to cover so much. Be focused on what you're doing. Focused on what you're exploring. So yeah, bring in stuff that might not be familiar to the reader. Develop your writing and look at what the author says. Reflecting your experience, as I've said. Or you might want to add an original perspective. And certainly at master's level you will get higher marks if you actually formulate your own thoughts and feelings about how things should be delivered, how mentors should behave, and what leads to good mentoring practice. From what you're reading, you may identify a gap, and you may want to say or talk about organisations and professions and the improvement. So that will get you extra points. The synthesis and making something new of it, making suggestions for practice. I don't want to over labour it, but please make sure you do meet the modular learning outcomes. We will check to see that you have met the modular learning outcomes as we read through your work in order for you to achieve. Remember, we're here to help and support. Remember, you can contact us. Questions as well as drafts, that's absolutely fine. We would rather you do that than get stuck and go away considering that you don't know or you weren't sure. If at all you are struggling, you may have a period of sickness or things in your life or work pressures impact on your ability to complete the work, please contact your personal tutor. We can discuss your options with you. You can extenuate for extra time until things have settled down in your personal life, until you're in a better place to be able to complete the work. Don't feel that you've got the weight of it and you can't achieve. Please seek